Oh, it's a beautiful day in the world of football. Arsenal Football Club have bottled the Premier League title race. I'm looking at the table now. With a game in hand, City are 4 points clear in the Premier League title race. What a weekend of football for City fans and Arsenal fans. We will be talking in this video about where Arsenal are, obviously, on the back of losing 3-0 at home to Brighton. Obviously, I want to talk about Brighton as well. They were fantastic. But the big narrative today, of course, Arsenal Football Club losing the Premier League title race after leading the Premier League title for a good, 30 weeks, which is a record, I think, in the Premier League kind of history books. To be leading the Premier League this far and not winning the Premier League is absolutely mental. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Of course, would really appreciate it. We'll be covering the Man City Real Madrid game. You can slag me off if we end up bottling that again to Real Madrid like we did last year. Let's just talk about the game, the overview of the game. Arsenal have lost at home to Brighton 3-0. They have basically everyone fit. I know they've got Zinchenko, Saliba out, but they've got, Saka was playing today, Martinelli, Jesus. This is a side that should be going and applying themselves to Brighton and not melting away, not bottling it. They bottled it today. I don't want to be too jumping on the backs of Arsenal fans. I think they at points this season, they've been electric. They played football the right way. They've been a Man City light, if you want to put it that way. But today, I thought they were really, really poor. I thought they were second to every ball. I think Brighton showed so much, actually, physicality today. I think someone like Caicedo was a powerhouse in that midfield for Brighton. And I'd be deeply worried if I was an Arsenal fan. Jorginho, Martin Odegaard, they weren't getting anywhere near the Brighton midfield. And then technically on the ball, what Brighton were able to do was absolutely fantastic. They were knocking it about. They kept Arsenal at a distance today at the Emirates. And at points, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, Brighton are the home side here. Brighton are the home side. Obviously, I'm watching it on a screen. It's muted, obviously, because I was live on the club. But actually, you could sense the atmosphere at the Emirates was flat for the whole game. And I think Arsenal fans, I'm going to sit here and say it, it's disappointing to see them leaving. It's disappointing to see them leaving so early. I know I can't say anything. I'm not in the stadium, but I'd be disappointed if I was a young Arsenal player looking up at the stands. I've been dominating the Premier League for 30 weeks. And I look back, we've just been outplayed by Brighton. The manager's fantastic, De Zerbi. I look at the fans aren't there. The fans have left early. I think it's poor. That's just my opinion. If you're an Arsenal fan, let me know in the comments down below. I'm trying to be as balanced as possible because, again, I think Arsenal have been fantastic this season. But they have been let down by performances they could have controlled this season against Southampton, against West Ham, Liverpool, even Everton. And Brighton is the biggest nail in the coffin for their Premier League title campaign. As I said, in the first half, Brighton were knocking it about. Matoma had a good couple of chances. And in the second half, early, Brighton were able to up a gear that I don't think Arsenal ever had. And Cisco, the ball comes in. Is it Danny Welbeck? I think he bounces it into the ground. And Cisco with a header. I mean, where are the centre-backs for Arsenal? Where's the spine? Where are the John Terrys, the Vincent Companies? Where are those kind of performances for Arsenal? The back line for Arsenal were ripped open. Gabriel, Kirior, there was so much space between those centre-backs for and Cisco to get in and score the goal. And at that point, let's be completely real. It should never, ever be a Brighton 2-0, 3-0 at the Emirates with the quality on display. It should never be that way. And Brighton felt like they were going to kick on again. And of course, they did do that. Undav with an unbelievable little chip over Ramsdale. Should Ramsdale have done better? He was let down by a really poor Trossard. He was trying to flick it around. Trossard was trying to flick it around into midfield first time. He dropped deep to kind of collect the ball. Again, it was exactly the same to Declan Rice with Thomas Partey. Trying to be fancy, trying to be Hollywood so early into a second half of football. There's still a good 25, 30 minutes to play for Arsenal. Why are you acting in that way? Why are you not playing with a level of control, with a level of poise that I think Trossard has demonstrated this season to a high degree? Put your foot on the ball, knock it about, knocking it around, trying to bend it around first time, flicking it around. You're not Ronaldinho. You can't get away with this in modern day. You will get pressed high up the pitch by a lot of Premier League sides this season, and Brighton are probably the best pressers in the league behind Man City. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The finish from Undav is an unbelievable goal. Ramsdale's livid. Again, where the centre-backs? Everyone's out of position. Everyone's got caught out. It's really poor. You have to say that. And then Estupiñán, who makes it 3-0. He's been an unbelievable left back for Brighton this season. He's been an unbelievable defender, and he scores a really great goal. And you can see all the Brighton players, how much it meant to them. And we have to talk about Brighton, how positive they are for the Premier League. They've come up, they do things the right way. Bloom, the owner, obviously signs these young players. He kind of has a statistical understanding of who these guys are. They've sold Cucurella for 65 million quid, brought in Estupiñán. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's probably a better defender now than Cucurella is. So, are Chelsea going to go in for him again for 65 million quid and just keep repeating the same problem? Because there will be interest for these Brighton players. They've been absolutely fantastic. And for Estupiñán to make it 3-0, 96th minute, it shows that the Arsenal squad today had a lack of quality, a lack of backbone. And let's just talk about Man City. Man City now on the verge. We could get crowned champions if Arsenal drop points again. That could happen maybe while City aren't even playing, potentially. And of course, Man City now look like we could be winning 3 Premier League titles in a row. We could win 5 in the last 6 years. It's unbelievable. I think Arsenal fans will look back at it and think we had big opportunities against Southampton, against West Ham, in winning positions, especially the one against West Ham where you miss a penalty at the Olympic Stadium. Surely you've got to do a bit better. You've got to do a bit better in the business end of the season. Saliba is a big injury, of course. Zinchenko in and out of form, but apart from that, they've had Jesus come back from injury. They brought in Trossard, Jorginho with so much experience. He was fantastic against Newcastle. They were fantastic last week against Newcastle. Where's the drop off? I'm not so sure. It's concerning. Very keen to see what you think in the comments down below. Where do Arsenal go from here? Is it 3 or 4 additions in the summer? Do they need to go for the Premier League title again? Is it consolidation for next season's top 4? Will they have a run? Will they have the ability to be 8 points clear in the Premier League title race this time next season? I'm not so sure. It's a massive opportunity dropped for Arsenal. But hey, there we go. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We've got Real Madrid obviously in the week. And that's a massive, massive game. Man City are on the precipice of winning potentially a treble. And Arsenal have given us an opportunity to win a Premier League potentially earlier. That gives Man City, again, an opportunity to go into a treble winning campaign with the FA Cup, the Champions League final coming. We can now potentially rest players, get the likes of squad players coming in. Cole Palmer, for example, can play these Premier League games. If we win the Premier League within the next week, that could potentially happen. And then the Champions League, especially if we're in the Champions League final, we can rest all those players for the Champions League final if we're lucky enough to play against to beat Real Madrid and play an Inter or an AC Milan in the final. We're absolutely loving life. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And of course, Arsenal have bottled the Premier League title. The Premier League title race. Big questions for you in the comments. Big questions. Who let Arsenal down today? Aaron Ramsdale. I'll give you 3 and then I'm going to sign off. Aaron Ramsdale. Martinelli. I thought he fluffed his lines today. And Jorginho. Soft. Loving life. 3 in a row for City. It's a beautiful day. Thanks very much.